Hi, I'm Zack of Confidence Analytics. I'm the Chromatography Manager here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we actually measure cannabinoid potency on cannabis products. So I took a little bit of a sample of what you just watched Open Source Steel distill. I took a little bit of that sample and just placed it straight into a tube, added some of our specially blended methanol with an internal standard, put one of our little fancy labels up top, and then filtered and diluted that into this little auto sampler vial. So this little vial is now going to come sit right there in this instrument. Now the way this guy works is it uses a little robot arm, picks up and grabs the vial, takes it over, and then a needle goes in, pulls out a certain volume of that sample, and then injects it into the fluid path. And basically the way these things work, we have this column, I know it doesn't look like a column, full of basically like coated sand, of a certain special coated sand. And that sand really likes to hold on to some stuff, like cannabinoids, for example. And then we wash it with this solvent we have up here, and we have a solvent program that slowly increases the solvent strength throughout the run. And that gets different compounds to come off at certain times based on how much they like sticking to that coated sand versus moving in our solvent program. Then as they come out one at a time, they go into this UV vis spectrophotometer, which is a fancy word for saying a light measuring system. Basically just measures the amount of light that's absorbed at certain wavelengths. Because they're cannabinoids, they absorb a lot in ultraviolet, so we measure in the ultraviolet range, specifically less than 250 nanometers. So after we've measured the amount, we get what's called a chromatogram, which is just a time trace that shows little peaks whenever stuff comes off the column, goes into the detector, and shows that it absorbs some light. The amount of that peak, basically the area of that peak, is proportional to the amount of stuff that's going in. So if we calibrate with known standards that we buy from a company that are extremely exact, like this is this concentration, we can plot against that standard curve to figure out how much of that material was actually in the vial that we injected. Then we do a little bit of math based on, for example, how much solvent I put in this tube and how much mass of the distillate that I put in this tube, and that allows us to compute a value for THC content. I would guess that this distillate's probably going to be in the 80 to 90% range. It's pretty common for distillates. If it was really well done, it'll be above 90, but only time will tell.